Okay, I'm going to show you the side of the radio here. There is a 6-pin connector. That's the standard microphone connector, the microphone that comes with the radio. I've removed some screws here, so please ignore that. I've taken those off so we can show you the inside of the radio. Interesting thing about the OmegaForce line is it does have the 6-pin microphone connector here, and if we look at the other side, you'll see that it has a 4-pin connector on the other side. So you can run the microphone that comes with the radio that has the up-down controls, or if you have another microphone you prefer, you can just plug it in the other side. You can actually have both microphones plugged in at the same time. Obviously you can't key them at the same time, but you can use either one at any time. So very neat that they include the dual option for that on the microphone. Okay, looking at the back of the radio here, you'll see that the antenna connector is here, a PA and external speaker jacks are here. This radio has a power cord that's hardwired into the back, and you connect and disconnect it here with this quick disconnect switch. There's actually a second piece that plugs in. It's nice because it kind of guarantees that you will not reverse your polarity on the power and blow the radio at all. So very easy, quick disconnect. And then right here is the unit that you're going to be looking at, probably most interested in. This is the S-45. This is as it's mounted on the back of the OmegaForce radio. The unit itself is not much larger than a standard heatsink on a lot of radios. In fact, with my Delta Force radios I had sitting here, I was pretty surprised that it was actually a little bit smaller top to bottom, just a little bit wider. So this is where your transistors are going to be housed. Previously on older radios, on the older versions of the OmegaForce and most dual final exports, your two finals are going to be mounted on the inside of the case. In this particular unit, it's mounted on the back of the radio, and the transistors are going to be mounted on the back end. So they're not inside the radio. Any heat or anything is going to be coming off the heatsink off the back here, and it won't be heating up the inside board. So kind of neat the way it's laid out. And like we said, you can get about 80 to 100 watts output. So it is a high output transistor that's inside this. Okay, looking at the inside of the radio, I'll show you a couple things right away that are visible. Over on the right hand side you'll see your echo and talkback boards. It's going to be mounted over there. Up front here, this is actually going to be the little board where you're going to make your frequency conversion. On the opposite side of this board is a small jumper. By moving the position of that jumper, you can change the frequency of the radio or the coverage that it'll cover. So you can change it from a standard just 10-meter radio, or you can change it so it'll cover the extended coverage, including the 11-meter band. What you have to do is unscrew this screw right here, gently lift that little piece up and move the jumper. Easy to convert, makes the radio usable on the extended frequencies. Inside you'll see more wires than you might see on some of the previous models, like in the Delta Force. A lot of that has to do with the Top Gun modulator system, the speech compressor that's inside this radio, as well as you'll see the wires coming out of the RFX system here as they come out and are hardwired into the board. As you can see in the back here, there aren't finals like you would have in a standard radio. On the previous models, this is where your two final transistors would have been located. On the earlier models, it would have been the 1969 transistors. On the later models, the ERF 2030s. And on this particular radio, you can see that the hole is drilled from the factory and the RFX 75 is installed on the back. Okay, we'll talk about a couple of tuning locations. Your single sideband ALC control is going to be right here. That's RV116. Your AMC control is going to be RV119, which is right here. If you want to adjust the dead key on the low position on your RF power, that's going to be RV117. It'll be a little tough to see, but it's underneath over here. If you're going to adjust the high power adjustment for the amount of dead key when it's in the RF position all the way to the right, that would be RV118, which is right here. So those are your locations for making those adjustments. Basically, I will tell you that this radio from the factory is really set up to rock. In terms of where the modulation and everything is set, you can turn on the Top Gun modulator. You really don't want to go into this radio and just max out everything like you would on some exports. The Top Gun modulator already allows it to sound very loud and clean. Messing with the AMC in here a whole lot is really going to, fuzzy up something that really is good to start with. So, not a whole lot to do inside. Maybe some small adjustments to the receive section when you convert it over to the 11-meter band. But other than that, the radio is pretty much ready to go. Very good quality in terms of the way everything's designed. These radios are very rugged. They use much thicker board material, and the board material in them is designed not to absorb water. Like a lot of exports use boards that can absorb water, and it ruins the traces and everything on them. These radios use a heavier copper and a stronger board in them, so it makes them very durable.